welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Say! It's Miller time! Welcome back to Miller Time. No, you're not drunk, you just wish you were. It's been a while since we peeked in on our old pal Frank Miller. The last time we reviewed one of his works, it was Spawn/Batman, a crossover where the two characters fought most of the time. Spawn was treated like a pansy, and Batman was glorified despite him acting like a crazy man. What's worse is that we really got to see the downward spiral that would lead to the Miller we know and love today, who gleefully puts out horribly offensive material that DC refused to let one of their flagship characters be a part of. And bear in mind, DC let Miller do this.
What are you, dense? Are you retarded or something? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm the goddamn Batman!
But Holy Terror was where they drew the line. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, we'll look at Holy Terror eventually. In the meantime, though, we have another Miller-penned crossover. One that's a little more awesome. In this corner, Alex Murphy, a man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We can make the world's first RoboCop. Better than he was. Better, faster, stronger. And with a kick-ass gun and legitimately funny social commentary, RoboCop is an excellent sci-fi action and revenge movie.
Your move, creep.
And in this corner, Skynet was created by man. It evolved. It rebelled. There are many robots. And it has a plan. Specifically, that plan is the Terminator, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton. Sent back in time to kill the human resistance leader, the Terminator is the deadliest weapon in Skynet's arsenal, and the movie itself is another great sci-fi action movie, which also led to one of the greatest sequels ever in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And less than stellar sequels.
Talk to the hand.
This is actually a rather ingenious pairing for a crossover. Both are about robotics and machines, both have to do with the future, and the titular characters themselves could probably be considered equally matched in terms of firepower, strength, and intelligence. And naturally, Frank Miller of all people wrote their comic crossover. However, unlike a lot of Miller times when I announced I was doing this, a lot of people wondered why I thought this deserved a review since RoboCop vs. the Terminator is widely considered a really good comic. Well, the answer to that is, I haven't read it yet. Since the crossover put Miller's name on top of things, I thought it would make for a good episode. So let's dig into RoboCop vs. the Terminator #1 and see if this is an example of Miller before he went nuts, or if I have to disagree with popular opinion. Have much going for it. I hesitate to call it bad, but at the same time, compositionally, why is the Terminator just standing in the background behind a city? It's not looking down at RoboCop, who is firing into the air for some reason, so it's not meant to be ominous, it's just a giant Terminator behind a city. You might as well put Neutro in place of it and you'd have the same effect. Speaking of, the perspective is kind of warped. Is this a bird's eye view? If not, why can we see some people running on a road in the bottom left? We open with a series of explosions all across the page in various panels. Michael Bay joke, Bruce Kalish joke, etc., etc. When we finally cut away from the explosions themselves, we see humans running away from a battle, one getting stomped on by a giant robotic foot. Peace will come. Though it will be very messy. It's tough to get those bloodstains off the metal, you know. These desperate sweating things, these humans, are almost gone. I know they only come once a year, but they always find a way to ruin Christmas. I'm assuming this is the voice of Skynet, the computer that took over the world in the Terminator series. Skynet exposits that a human has made its way into the center of the regional mind and decides the best course of action in order to take care of the human is to blow up the regional mind building. Damn, if only there were human-sized robots that Skynet could send in to deal with them instead of blowing up their installation. You know, some kind of terminating android or the like. But hey, I guess I just don't measure up to the genius, machine-efficient mind that Skynet possesses. Anyway, building starts exploding, and the human inside of it, who was connected by various wires into the computers, I think this comic is confusing the Terminator with the Matrix, gets knocked aside. Scared, aren't you, junk? You know I'm close, and you can't fight me. Not in here. I think that missile was the junk's way of telling you, yes, it can. She shoves a cable into something, I don't know, and gains control of the systems. Connor was right. It was a human mind that did it, that turned you from a tool to an army of murderers. A human mind, merged with software, then married to Skynet. That was an awkward wedding. The caterers were late, the priest showed up drunk, and the bridesmaids tried to assimilate and then exterminate the human guests. It was just a mess. It was a man, a cop, named Alex Murphy. RoboCop caused the big war between humans and machines. I gotta admit, that must have been the most awesome apocalypse ever. While she talks to herself, a damaged Terminator comes up behind her and tries to grab her, but she quickly turns around and blasts it apart. The woman runs off and Skynet's narration returns. Danger now extreme. Extensive property damage acceptable. You fired a missile at the building! I can't get over this! Why is a missile considered small potatoes? Oh, because we have a giant robot that shoves its hand through the wall. I love how nonchalant the woman is about this too, despite the fact that a giant robot arm is coming through the building. God, I hate those big ones. Ugh, giant robots. I am so put off by that. The building also has a time machine in it, which our plucky heroine quickly runs to and starts discarding all her clothes. Knowing Frank, he'd probably put instructions in the script telling the artist to make sure that we focused on her ass shaking from side to side as she ran, but to our fortune, this was drawn by Walt Simonson, a great artist best known for his work on Thor, and he probably ignored any such instructions and just showed her silhouette and a few shots of her readying the time machine, but nothing explicit or fan servicey. Skynet decides that since the woman knows about the time machine, that it's time to stop being careful and just blow the hell out of the place. Unfortunately, it's too late and the woman escapes into the past before the time machine can be destroyed. Too late. Clever things. This was to be the last battle, and she was the last soldier, and now she has made it a whole new war. And I'm grinning about that for some reason. Yeah, it's kind of a design flaw in us Terminators. And then a splash page of the woman curled up into a ball, copied and pasted about 15 times. Well, it's not really fan servicey, but it is weird. When I just glanced at the page without looking too closely at it, I thought the entire page was covered in eyeballs. Following that is a trippy page with her head repeating over and over in a tesseract that changes her into a black woman for a bit before making her Caucasian again. Time travel is weird. Say, remember how in Spawn/Batman we couldn't differentiate when Batman was narrating and when it was just the omniscient narrator? Yeah, that's happening again. The white narrative captions up until now were just for Skynet, but now it's for the narrator. Unless Skynet is the narrator, in which case that artificial intelligence is more messed up than I thought it was. Back, before the junk took over, before a defense system gained consciousness and unleashed its nuclear might, laying waste to a world of life. It took one look at the fact that 3 Alvin and the Chipmunks live-action movies existed and decided, yeah, this civilization deserves to die. Anyway, the woman arrives back in the past. Back, before the war, before the Terminators, to a happier time, a quieter time. Crazy broad! You crazy broad! Naked Friday doesn't stop for another 3 hours! The woman, by the way, 10 pages in and our main character hasn't gotten a name yet I know what her ass looks like. Asks the driver what year it is. The man, a taxicab driver, is less confused about the presence of a naked woman than the fact that she was in front of his car. Yeah, this is the year I stopped letting you drug addicts give me a heart attack with your dumb tricks. Making your clothes disappear like that. I won't be fooled by that trick for the 5th time. Year I do something about it. I think you missed the determiner there, dude. This year you intend to do something about it. And he does it again, too. Yeah, this citizen stands up for his rights! He then proceeds to pull out a very silly-looking gun. Hey, dude, you got enough scopes on that thing? I think there's still room on the sides of the quote-unquote barrel of the gun to fit a few more. Other citizens in the street decide to pull out guns for legitimate reasons like, I've had a rotten day, but the situation is diffused by the naked woman kicking the taxi driver, taking his gun, and threatening the people to knock it off. They do so and walk away. People pulling guns on each other. Crazy. No, I'm sorry, but the fact that you're completely nude and nobody seems to mind is still crazier to me than everybody having a gun. The woman steals the cab and some clothes, and she finds the only listing for Alex Murphy in the phone book and heads for some suburbs. A quiet place that greets her with a sight of trees and 1,000 pleasant smells. She waits. A bird calls out. Then another. Soon it's a chorus. It takes her a full minute to recognize the sound for what it is. And she cries. Why? Why are the birds singing my humps? To be fair, though, I actually like this bit. It would make sense that she'd actually be enthralled by bird singing, though it's kind of ruined by how melodramatic they need to write it. It probably would have been better if we just seen her looking at the birds and then silently sobbing or something. She spots a police car pull up to Murphy's house and she suspects that it's Alex Murphy himself, so she takes out the gun and closes in. However, as she moves in, she overhears a conversation between the officer who went in and the woman inside, named Ellen. Of course, in the RoboCop universe, soundproofing must absolutely suck, since otherwise how is she hearing all this? Anyway, what she hears is that Alex is dead and she realizes that she's too late, that he's already become RoboCop. Which makes me scratch my head. In the first RoboCop movie, it seemed pretty clear that Murphy's widow had long since moved out of her place with their son before he became RoboCop, so why is his name still in the phone book and still listed along with her for the address? Also, why is Future Lady wearing that thing on her head?
Because if I wear it anywhere else, it chafes.
She realizes that her gun will be useless against RoboCop, so one panel later, she sold off the cab driver's stash. What, was the taxi driver a drug dealer too? How dramatically convenient. And bought a bunch of components that will hopefully build her a plasma rifle. However, as she sits in an alleyway assembling it, what should come along but Ed 209? Or some variant of it, I don't know, I haven't seen RoboCop 2 or 3 yet.
You are in violation of Street Cleaning Ordinance 66B. Street Cleaning Ordinance 66B. Plasma rifles must be constructed in hotel rooms or diaper-changing stations.
The robot opens fire on her, but she slides between its legs.
Alert! Felon between unit's legs. Adjusting. Alert! Maybe I should just do it instead of stating it out loud. Alert! Felon behind unit. Adjusting. Alert! Gyro dysfunction. Adjusting. Alert! I was really not designed well for this job, was I?
So she destroys the robot and walks off, heading towards the police station. So many magazines they sell in this time. Almost none are concerned with survival, fashion, sports, sex, self-awareness, better bride. National Geographic! These people make me sick! One magazine shows what Murphy was turned into, and where he is maintained. Damn you, popular mechanics! She walks into the station and bumps into a cop on his way out. Naturally, there's no security here, and she just pickpockets his ID card that lets her deeper into the place. She finds Dr. Marie Lazarus from RoboCop 3 dictating to herself that Murphy refuses to come back in for repairs and sleep and has been on the job for 69 hours straight. The woman comes in and knocks her out, figuring that they must have a way to track RoboCop, and quickly finds RoboCop's tracking device. We cut to Cass Corridor. Bad neighborhood. People on the streets are carrying automatic weapons. Please give me your criteria for a good neighborhood comic. In the basement of some building, a gang of thugs have kidnapped a woman and tied her to a chair. Nobody knows we got you but your rich husband, and he's too smart to call the cops. And even if he does, they almost never show up in the corridor. But don't worry, we get the ransom and you'll be fine. You believe me, don't you? I mean, just look at my haircut and my smile. This is the look of a man who's trustworthy. They hear a noise when a wall suddenly explodes out. My God, it's Robo Kool-Aid Man!
Oh yeah!
No, of course it's RoboCop. The goons open fire, but to no avail. The lead thug puts his gun to the hostage's ear, but in true gory RoboCop fashion, he shoots the lead thug and all the rest, and globules of red paint blast out where he targets. RoboCop, victorious, stands over the bodies of the dead in a splash page.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand this? Don't make faces at me, creep. We can use that against you too.
God bless you! Oh, God bless you! I thought they were going to kill me! I'm covered in this guy's blood and entrails, but God bless you! How can I thank you? I've got money. I mean, if you need any parts or anything. But RoboCop takes her hand off of him and walks away. I'm sorry,
Don't touch the chrome, lady. You'll get fingerprints on it.
We cut to a casino 50 stories up, where a madman has strapped bombs to himself. That's right, I got nothing to lose. Not since I got fired off my job for no reason at all. I make a few pipe bombs in my cubicle, and suddenly I'm a dangerous psychotic. Well, who's the dangerous psychotic now, eh? He orders them to fill up his bag with money, but then RoboCop arrives and just calmly walks up to the guy. The bomber clicks the explosives, but unfortunately he made the mistake of putting it on a timer, so it takes 5 seconds for him to explode, giving RoboCop the chance to grab him by the shirt and throw him out into the sky, exploding harmlessly in the air. And making a completely badass panel of the explosion behind him and the light reflecting off of his metal while his face is in shadow. Pure awesome! RoboCop, Crime Prevention Unit, Detroit Police Department, part-time pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Unfortunately, RoboCop has his emo moments too as he walks out into the rain. Rain falls, driving the humans to shelter, striking his helmet, his chest. He listens to it. Great, and I just got polished and waxed. It seems so far away as a woman's touch. Far away as everything, except the call of duty. Wait, my shift has been over for an hour. Time to go home and watch House. However, RoboCop gets slammed by the woman's plasma rifle, and the brain of Alex Murphy is blasted to atoms. Oh geez, there go the piano lessons. Crap, now I can't remember how to dance the robot. You know, I admit I figured she got her information wrong and RoboCop wasn't what caused the machine apocalypse, but it seems they were serious since we cut to the future and everything is altering. Calamity, shockwaves through the time stream. A new Matrix is forming a new future. Matrix re-uploaded. This time it's Terminators. Forests rise, reborn, tossing off steel and circuitry. Wait, in the machine apocalypse they made robot trees? The air is filled with sunshine and the stench of pollen and the call of furry things. Drooling, belching, living things. Oh, Frank, you always know how to paint a picture. So apparently the Terminator universe operates under a sound of thunder rules of time travel. Since this stuff isn't just erased, the machines start falling apart as forests rise and stuff. Realizing what's going on, Skynet quickly deploys 3 Terminators and sends them back in time. To a basketball game. Maybe RoboCop's death actually changed the course of a basketball game, and that's how Skynet took over. Arrival. No shortage of weapons. No shortage of clothes. Sufficient time to prevent disruption. Also, T-800s come in mini-me sizes now, I guess. And then, in a slight bit of laziness, the narration captions about the rain and the Call of Duty repeat themselves, only now a car pulls up in front of RoboCop and a Terminator opens fire at the woman, blasting her in the chest. RoboCop, quick to respond, shoots at the Terminator as it drives off. However, he does get a close-up on the Terminator's face, seeing the robotic eye under the skin. And so our comic ends with RoboCop starting to pick up the woman, because that's always the smartest thing to do to someone who has been shot. Wait, I stand corrected. She hasn't been shot, she just has raspberry jam all over her.
Ma'am, you are injured. Lie still. Lie still so I can shake you around a bit.
Hands off me. It was you. The whole world died because of you. Who could have known that the next Prime Directive was destroy the world? This comic is not that bad at all. It's not exactly what I would call good, nor is it Frank Miller's best work. It still has plot problems and writing problems, but at the same time, there isn't a lot of Miller's usual antics on display here, and that's probably because this was made in 1992. He hadn't quite lost his mind yet. Instead, while the story is heavily entrenched in the Terminator side of things at the beginning, the RoboCop stuff is enjoyable for what it is, and there isn't anything on display that's offensive or anger-inducing, though I kind of roll my eyes at the idea of RoboCop somehow being responsible for the machine apocalypse, even indirectly. Bottom line, if you wanted to see an example of Miller and why he was considered a good writer at one point, this is not a bad example of his better work.
You're going.
Keep him talking.
Okay, Miller, don't hurt the mayor. We'll give you whatever you want. How about the 6,000 SUX?
Fuck you, asshole.